Kim Kardashian has avoided certain topics for over a decade. And then, out of nowhere, she sat down on Call Her Daddy and opened doors everyone assumed she'd sealed shut forever. From old scandals she spent years dodging, to rumors that once divided her own family, Kim finally let people peek behind the curtain. But the moment she began speaking, one thing became obvious. She was choosing her words very carefully. This wasn't a casual conversation. This was a strategic reveal, every sentence polished like it had been rehearsed backstage. And yet, even with all the PR polish in the world, there were cracks, little slips that made the internet go wild trying to figure out what she was really saying and what she was still trying to hide. But the discussion didn't truly explode until she brought up a moment from 2010, something fans have been calling creepy and inappropriate for years. And once she went there, everything else unraveled. Back in 2010, Kim Kardashian was 30 years old, Justin Bieber was 16, and the two of them posed together in a photo shoot that instantly made the internet uncomfortable. The pictures were staged like they were a romantic couple, hands on each other, leaning in close, posing on a beach like they were in the middle of a teenage love movie. At the time, people brushed it off as publicity, but when the photos resurfaced recently, the reaction was completely different. Fans couldn't understand why this was ever approved and why Kim agreed to it in the first place. Then came the weirdest part. Justin himself once said he had Kim on BBM, BlackBerry Messenger, and that they talked all the time. That statement aged like spoiled milk. Why was a 16-year-old messaging a 30-year-old reality TV star? Fans started digging through old clips, old interviews, old articles, and the more they looked, the more uncomfortable it all felt. Kim tried to explain herself during the interview, insisting that Justin's parents, team, and girlfriend at the time were all present. She said nothing weird happened, and she didn't mean for it to look romantic, yet she also admitted that the entire concept was odd, and something she'd never agree to now. Some viewers believed her, many didn't. But the moment she finished talking about Justin, things got even more chaotic, because next came a rumor she has been running from for years, and this time, the internet wasn't buying her answers. The Travis Barker chapter of Kim's life is one of the most uncomfortable pieces of Kardashian history, so uncomfortable that fans still argue about it more than a decade later. Travis, now married to Kim's sister Kourtney, wrote in his own memoir that he had a major crush on Kim long before he and Kourtney ever got together. And he didn't just casually mention her, he described their time together in vivid detail. He talked about taking her to dinner and lunch. He wrote about her coming over to his house to swim. He even mentioned watching fireworks together like it was a teenage summer romance. The way he described her made it obvious he saw Kim differently from other women he'd been with. He said he treated her like a gentleman, which many fans found ironic considering his reputation back then. In the interview, Kim denies everything. "No, never," she says, twice. But her tone is what made people suspicious. Kim is extremely calculated in how she speaks. When she repeats herself, it's usually because she's buying time to figure out how to respond without creating a storm. And the internet noticed immediately. Then comes the Paris Hilton connection, the part Kim never talks about. Years ago, Paris and Travis briefly dated. Around the same time, Kim started spending more time with him. Not long after, Kim and Paris had a major fallout that lasted years. Fans have always believed these events weren't a coincidence. Now imagine being Kourtney today, knowing your husband once wrote pages about being infatuated with your sister. That's a level of awkward most people couldn't handle. And watching Kim dodge the question only made it worse. But if Kim was uncomfortable talking about Travis, it was nothing compared to the next topic, the one involving her ex-husband and father of her children. People noticed right away that Kim's voice dropped and her answers slowed the moment Kanye was mentioned. For years, Kim has tried to avoid publicly detailing his distance from the family, even when he was going viral weekly for controversies. But this time, she finally admitted it. Kanye hasn't seen the kids in months. She tried to soften it by explaining that Kanye has always lived a busy, unpredictable lifestyle, touring, traveling, jumping from one country to another. But the silence between her words said everything. Her careful pauses, her slow responses, the way she framed things vaguely instead of directly. Fans called her out immediately. Some felt heartbroken for the kids, saying they were forgotten while Kanye and Bianca traveled across Europe. Others felt sympathy for Kim, who has been raising 4 children while dealing with public chaos most people could never imagine. And then there were comments about how cold Kim seemed throughout the interview, how she never wavered or showed vulnerability. Whether she came across as strong or emotionless depended on who you asked. But the consensus was the same. This was not the same Kim people saw 10 years ago. Fame has changed her, and the pressure of protecting her kids has hardened her in ways the public is only starting to understand. Still, even with all this tension, what Kim chose to talk about wasn't nearly as revealing as what she carefully avoided. And fans noticed every detail. Throughout the entire interview, Kim navigated questions like someone walking through a field of hidden landmines. Every answer was polished. Every deflection was intentional. When asked directly about Travis, she shut it down immediately. When asked if she'd seen her name in his memoir beforehand, she said no, but her body language said something different. People online pointed out how she kept repeating certain words, how she spoke in half sentences, how her tone tightened when Travis was mentioned. These were classic PR tells, signs of someone staying within rehearsed boundaries. Fans also pointed out something interesting. Kim never once acknowledged the emotional side of what this situation might have meant for Kourtney. She kept describing everything as normal, open, and cool, almost as if she were trying to erase any hint of discomfort. But the audience wasn't buying it. Comment sections exploded with theories. She's protecting her sister by not admitting the truth. She's choosing her words way too carefully. This sounds like PR rewriting history. Meanwhile, others said she looked tired of the drama, like she just wanted the past to stay buried. But if that was her hope, the interview had the opposite effect, because the internet didn't just react to her words, they reacted to her energy. The most viral reaction to Kim's interview wasn't about Justin Bieber or Travis Barker. It was about Kim herself. Viewers said she seemed emotionless, distant, almost robotic, like she had trained herself to never show vulnerability again. Some people thought it was sad, others thought it was powerful. But everyone agreed. This was not the bubbly, expressive Kim from KUWTK. As the oldest Kardashian scandals resurfaced, Kim sat there with the emotional range of someone talking about a grocery list. Fans debated whether this was maturity or burnout. Some said fame hardened her. Others said motherhood changed her priorities. A few even said it felt like watching someone who had been forced to bury all her emotions for survival. But the split reaction kept the interview trending. Some people supported her and praised her strength. Others felt she'd become cold as concrete, as one viral comment put it. This perception became a bigger topic than anything she actually admitted. Still, it wasn't the only old drama resurfacing, because the Paris Hilton situation came right back into focus, adding another complicated layer to an already tangled story. To understand why the Travis Barker topic is so messy, you have to go back to the early 2000s. Paris Hilton was the star. Kim was her stylist and assistant. Travis Barker had a brief fling with Paris. And somewhere in the middle of all that, Kim and Travis got close. Close enough for him to describe her in detail in his memoir years later. Fans have long believed this contributed to the fallout between Paris and Kim. Their friendship suddenly ended. They stopped appearing together. Paris threw shady comments on interviews. Kim quietly rose to fame without mentioning why they drifted apart. This is why Kim's denial in the interview felt suspicious to so many people. If nothing happened, why would Paris cut her off? Why would Travis write about Kim like a love-struck teenager? Why would he describe moments that sounded undeniably romantic? Fans pointed out that Kim avoided the Paris topic entirely. She didn't bring up the history. She didn't explain the fallout. She didn't clarify why Travis wrote what he wrote. She simply stuck to her PR-approved script: deny and move forward. But the internet remembers everything, and this interview brought back drama that fans had been piecing together for almost 15 years. Still, Kim had one more moment of unexpected honesty, something nobody predicted. Of everything she said in the interview, this was the only moment where Kim seemed to drop the PR mask. She straight up admitted that the Justin Bieber photoshoot was inappropriate. She said she didn't understand how anyone, including herself, thought it was a good idea. She said she wouldn't do something like that today, and she sounded genuinely uncomfortable looking back on it. Fans said it was refreshing to hear her acknowledge a moment that most celebrities would pretend never happened. Others said she had no choice, because the internet has been calling it out for years. Still, it was striking to see Kim, one of the most carefully curated celebrities in the world, admit to something that crossed a line. But even this moment of honesty led to more questions. Why admit to this, but deny Travis Barker so quickly? Why open up about Kanye, but not address the Paris connection? Why call out the photo shoot, but avoid other uncomfortable moments in her past? All of this leads to the final question. What does this interview really reveal about Kim Kardashian today? This interview wasn't just about answering old questions, it was about controlling the narrative. Kim revealed just enough to seem honest, but not enough to create new scandals. She opened doors she once slammed shut, but only the ones she knew she could handle. She gave the public pieces of the truth, carefully measured, carefully delivered. Some people walked away feeling sympathy for her. Others felt frustrated, sensing she was hiding more than she admitted. But what became clear is this. Kim has become extremely calculated. Every sentence is filtered. Every answer is strategic. She's learned how to expose just enough to keep the public satisfied without giving away anything that could damage her family or ignite new drama. Still, whether she meant to or not, this interview reopened old wounds: Justin Bieber rumors, Travis Barker's memoir, Paris Hilton drama, and Kanye's absence. And instead of clearing the air, she left people asking even more questions. In the end, Kim may have addressed these topics, but she also reminded everyone why so many of these stories refuse to die. Because whenever she tries to bury the past always finds a way to pull itself back to the surface. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next upload. And don't forget to drop a like and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps the channel grow and lets me know what stories you want covered next.